Hello everyone, my name is Christine, and normally I show you how to make things, but today we're doing it kind of backwards. I'm going to show you how to unmake things so you can then make something different out of it. This is a creative process called upcycling, where you take something old or broken and recycle it upwards to make something that's better, more useful, or prettier. Now, in the past, we used to just call this being resourceful, but people like to put a label on everything, so today we call it upcycling. You can upcycle just about anything, but the two most common things I see people upcycle are furniture and clothing. Furniture because it's easy to put a new coat of paint on or change out the knobs on a dresser like I did with mine, but also clothing because there's a lot you can do with clothing. My absolute favorite material to upcycle with is hands down pants, because pants are going to give you a lot of material to work with. They're also made out of a thicker fabric that generally holds up better over wear and tear over time, but mostly because thick thighs save lives unless you're a pair of skinny jeans, and my closet is where skinny jeans go to die. So I end up with a lot of pants left over that either don't fit or have ripped and are no longer wearable even if I try to slip a patch on them. My favorite thing to upcycle old, worn out, or ripped up pants into are jackets. The first jacket I have to show you today actually uses a pretty simple technique. These are pant legs, and I kept them as sleeves for the jacket. It's a pretty obvious way to do it, and sometimes it works out really well. This used to be one of my favorite pairs of pants, until one day when I bent down and I felt an ocean breeze coming through the backside, and there was no patch that was gonna cover that up. So unfortunately, they had to be retired. But since I upcycle my pants, I was able to make this really fun jacket with them. This seersucker print here, this came from a pair of shorts. These straps on each side also came from shorts. On the sides and the armpit, you will see these buttons that came off a jacket. And these zippers came off shorts as well. They are functional. On the back, I have a nice little capelet. This is made from the hem of a pair of pants, the one that I used for the sleeves. Underneath that capelet is a back that is made completely out of shorts. These are the pockets from the back of the shorts. I left them in there because I thought it looked cute. I was able to sew the seams together in what looks kind of like a box pleat. So this actually looks like one piece of fabric when it's really two. When I upcycle clothing, I do always add something new to the piece. These little D-rings and the zipper were brand new pieces. And I also bought this gray piece brand new, but it was a piece of scrap fabric when I bought it. I made this by taking apart some pants and shorts and pinning them on my dress form until I found a look I wanted. It was pretty simple, there's not a lot to it. This is another jacket that I really love. I made this in high school out of a bunch of pairs of pants that I sized out of. This indigo jean material here, I used this base pattern from a blazer that I had. Everything else, so all the black and all the straps, were entirely self-drafted. But I did use a little basis for this because I wasn't really confident in my sewing skills at the time, and I hadn't really drafted a lot of patterns at the time. So if you're kind of new to sewing and you're not confident in your patterns, you can always use another shirt or another pant or another skirt to use as a basis when you're upcycling new clothing. I purchased all these buttons new, and on the inside you'll see this blue fabric. I got this from my grandmother. It was a piece of scrap fabric that she gave me. I'll have a few spots on here, on the side and also on the back up here, where you'll see where the pocket sat on the jeans. It's that back pocket. It's gonna leave a little bit of a darker color than the rest of your jeans, just your normal wear and tear and laundering. These sleeves are pretty simple. They are exactly what they look like they are. I took two pairs of pants and I made stripes out of them and stuck them on like sleeves. Now on the back, you'll see these are fun little tails. I made these panels by alternating what I had left, the little bit of scraps I had left after making the rest of the jacket. Unfortunately, this is a jacket I haven't got a lot of use out of because when I first made it, I didn't have very good sewing skills. So it sat in a suitcase for a few years until I dug it out, unpicked a few seams, and sewed everything down flat. And I've worn it a few times since, and I'm not gonna lie, wearing a jacket like this makes you feel kind of badass. It's really fun to wear. And if you practice upcycling and sewing, you can get to a point where you can make some really fun jackets like this too yourself. This last jacket I have to show you is one of my favorite pieces I've ever made, and I put a lot of work into it. I made this out of 6 different pairs of pants. I cut them into strips, and then I cut them into different size strips, so they were all different size rectangles. Then I sewed these little rectangles together to make strips that I then sewed together to make this lovely textile here. So I took a pattern that I knew I loved and I just laid it out on my fabric to see how much I had to work with, and I was really happy to see that I had enough fabric to make a whole jacket out of. So if you want to make a jacket like this, you want to make your own textile, factor in about 6 pairs of pants because it's going to take a lot, and give yourself a few months to work on it because it's going to take a long time. When I was making this, I realized I really love the look of having these serged seams on the outside. So when I constructed this jacket, I sewed all the seams on the outside, just like the serger on the textile. This jacket is entirely lined with flannel. I did buy this flannel brand new. I also bought a new zipper. This is a really nice zipper. It's a heavy duty one. And as you can see, I even made a little zipper placket for this jacket. I also have very functional deep pockets. These will fit a phone, they will fit a wallet, and they will fit your keys all at once. You don't have to choose. On the back side, I added a fun little detail here. I added some wings because why not? This is a really fun silhouette to wear, and that's the fabulous thing about being able to make your own clothing is you can make fun silhouettes like that. And whether you shop at thrift stores or you get a lot of hand-me-down or donated clothing, this is what you can do with that. You don't have to just throw it in the back of your closet and never wear it. You can make something with it, and you can make something that you love. Just as much as I love these old khaki pants that were so awful when I had to wear them to work and are so wonderful when I get to wear them now. Next thing you need to know is how to take your clothes apart properly so you can make the most out of using that material. If you just take a pair of scissors and you cut along the armhole here, you're going to be wasting a lot of fabric that's in that seam. Not only that, but the fabric that is in the seam now is fabric that you can use for your seam when you make something else out of it. You are going to need a stitch ripper when you take your clothing apart. The proper way to use a stitch ripper is if you have a top stitched seam like this, you can use the point to slide between the threads and cut them. If you are working between a seam, the correct way to use your stitch ripper is to take the ball or the short side on the inside of the seam and rip it up that way. That way it's not going to puncture your fabric when you're stitch ripping it. So a good rule to follow is whatever piece you would sew last is the first piece you will stitch rip when you're taking your clothes apart. Sometimes you'll have to take the belt loops off before the waistband. Sometimes you'll take them off at the same time. But the waistband is always the first thing you will take off on a pair of pants. You'll also undo the hem, and then you'll take off the side seams, and then the zipper and the crotch afterwards. So here we are at the end of the video. I hope by now you understand what upcycling is and how to do it. Like I said, you can use anything to upcycle with. It doesn't have to be limited to clothing, but most of the examples I showed you today are clothing because it's my favorite way to upcycle. So whether you are a seamstress or you're a carpenter or you want to make earrings and necklaces out of glass you found at the beach, whatever you want to do, whatever is fun for you, go ahead and take old broken things, turn them into something that you're proud of. If you have something that you want to upcycle yourself, let me know what you made. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you clicked on this video because you love upcycling like I do, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm going to upcycle more stuff in the future, and when I do, you'll get a notification. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a nice day.